Alright guys, welcome back for another video. Today we are checking out the OneLeaf AI Mars MT1000LRF. Quick breakdown on what this guy actually is. So this is a thermal that's got a laser rangefinder, ballistics calculator, and I gotta say, the image quality is pretty good for the price point. So stick around, let's get into it, check it out, and see what this thing has to offer. So what we have in front of us today that we're going to be unboxing and kind of playing with and checking out and doing a partial review on this guy. This is the Mars MT1000LRF from OneLeaf AI. OneAI reached out and asked us if we wanted to review this guy, check it out. In compensation, they did give us this optic. We don't have to send this guy back, full disclosure. With that being said, that doesn't mean I'm just going to say this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. If it is not up to par, then I'm going to tell you guys and be honest with you guys that this thing is not worth buying. But so far, I have played with it a little bit and kind of checked it out and messed with it. And so far, no issues. And to be frank with you, it is actually a super clear image. I mean, there's a lot of detail, which we'll get into here later in the video. But this will be a three-part video. Today, we're going to unbox this thing, kind of play with the features a little bit, unbox it, turn it on, and kind of get a little image. The next two videos will be us taking it to the range using the ballistics calculator, which we'll go over here in just a second, as well as hopefully getting some wildlife on footage, going out to see if we can get any deer at night or in the evening, the capture on thermal. So quick breakdown on what this is. So this is a thermal optic that you can mount to a rifle. It's got a ballistics calculator in here, laser rangefinder, and obviously the thermal portion of it. So let's get into the quick specs real quick. So what this is a 640 by 512 resolution, and the kit that they sent out is the 35mm lens with the 50mm lens kit. So you get two different lenses on here, as you can tell in here, which we'll get into when we unbox this thing. But I got a 50mm lens and then the 35. The magnification changes with each lens. So without further ado, and I'll stop talking here, let's open this thing up and check it out. So I have opened this before just to ensure all the components are inside here, and you know, turned it on to make sure everything was working before we did this review. All right, so got some instructions here. It does come with a 3-year warranty, which is pretty cool. Safety net in case something does break after a year. You know, for 3 years, you can send this thing back to get it fixed. A little cloth for your lenses. That's pretty cool. They include some heated targets for zeroing. So kind of like a hand warmer there that they include in the packet, which is pretty cool. All right, getting into the bread and butter here. So this is what the optic looks like in the package. And again, I did open this beforehand. But what we got in here, they included one battery, the actual thermal optic with some lens covers here. And we'll check this guy out here in a second after we unbox everything. Looks like a HDMI cable that you can hook up potentially and view on a separate screen. A USB-C to USB, I'm assuming to pull the video off because this thing does record. A bunch of different O-rings for the lenses, so potentially replacement O-rings since the lens does come off. Got a bunch of those in there. And then we have our optics, or our mount to mount it onto and put on our rifle. But they also did send us out a quick detach mount, which we'll open up here in a second as well. And then here we got the 35mm lens. Let's open this guy up. And then they have a little cap on here just to protect it from any sort of dust or any sort of dirt. All right, forgot one thing, and of course all your hardware and everything else you need. So, all right, so here we got the optic. This is the 50mm lens on here, and look at that lens. That thing is just massive. Holy moly. 50mm lens, so base magnification, we're looking at a 2.8. and a focus range of 3.28 yards to infinity. And then the resolution on this lens is 640 by 512. Got our laser rangefinder right here on the side. I believe this is the USB. Yep, USB, oh, and SD card and your HDMI port right there. So if you want to change out a SD card, they did ship with a 64 gigabyte in there. But if you want to change it out to something a little bigger, you have the option to do that. That's pretty cool. I like that it has a removable SD card, your USB-C, and of course your HDMI. So it's cool that they have a little output here. So if you want to set up a little monitor or screen for your little ones to watch, or if you got somebody you're taking out with you, and they can actually view what you're looking at through the Optic. So a couple specs on this guy. So this is a 640 by 512 resolution, interchangeable lenses. They do sell different lenses. You can pick up a kit depending on what type of lenses you want. For example, this one, the 35 and the 50 millimeter, comes in a combo that you can purchase. You can purchase just the 50 millimeter, you can purchase just the 35 millimeter. It just depends on kind of what you're looking for. Additionally, they do sell other lenses as well. I believe they make a 70 millimeter lens that you can pair up with the 50 or 30 or however you want to do it, or 75 millimeter, I believe it is. So a lot of different options. All depends on kind of like what you're looking for, what you're trying to do. Also too, what you can do before you get this, you can, when you order it, you can actually customize a boot screen of whatever image that you want to put in there. So for example, like me, if I wanted to put my Tactical Outdoorsman logo in here, I could send the image to OneLeaf, and before they ship this thing out, they can actually put that image in here. So when you boot it up inside, you can see your logo or your picture or whatever else that you would want in there. So as I mentioned earlier, it does have a laser rangefinder as well as a ballistics calculator. The laser rangefinder says that it goes out from 5.5 yards to 1,300 yards. When we take this guy to the range, we'll definitely test that to see how the laser rangefinder does. So there's a bunch of different reticles that you can pick from. With the ballistics calculator, typically I just kind of run some sort of crosshairs. One, I got the ballistics calculator, I input my data, I press the range button, it gives me my hole over, so I don't need like MOA or MRAD reticles. I just kind of prefer the cross reticle, and especially if I got a ballistics calculator in here that does everything for me. Also too, a bunch of different color palettes that you can choose from. And the cool thing is this has a feature where you're able to pick the different type of environment that you're in. So if you're in, for example, some sort of fog, there's a fog setting in here, there's a rain setting, there's a forest setting, there's a urban city setting. So it will change the, I guess, the profile of what you're looking at and compensate for whatever environment that you're actually in. This also does have the freeze frame, or kind of like DNT, the one-shot zero. So you can zero your optic in a couple of shots versus chasing your rounds all over the place. So same setup as DNT. So you take a shot, you freeze the frame, you move the reticle where the impact was, and then you're pretty much zeroed. Also in here, it has the picture-in-picture mode, which in the picture-in-picture mode, you can actually put a little box at the top that is a zoomed-in image of what you're looking at to be able to kind of identify and get a little zoomed-in range. I typically don't use it. And then one thing they advertise is that it has customizable refresh rates, which are 30, 50, and 60 hertz. And what they're saying is there's no shutter in here, a manual shutter, where sometimes you get that click, it resets. I was playing with it, about a week ago, and I mean, the image is just constant throughout when you're looking at it. With some of the other thermals out there, every once in a while or every minute or so, you're going to get that shutter that kind of resets everything to make sure the image is displaying, I guess, the temperature correctly. All right, without further ado, I know I've done a lot of talking here, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw a battery in it, and then we're just going to kind of walk outside my garage, take a look around. It is about 11 o'clock at night. We do have a pretty big heat index currently at 110 degrees, so hopefully it has cooled down a little bit so we can actually give this guy justice and see some good thermal contours out there. But battery's in, and the only downfall to this, which I wish they would change, and I guess get it, is you're not able to record when you're going through the settings. So but what I might try to do is I might try to rig something up back here with the phone to kind of look through it and kind of play with the settings that way so you guys can actually see. But without that, you can record if you're not in the settings changing things up. But just once you get into the settings or the menu mode, you're not able to record. So I wish they would change that or kind of figure out an option to be able to record in the settings mode. All right, so got the battery in. I'm going to boot it up here. And also too, what I like is, as I'm looking through it, that display screen is very large and closer to where you're looking at versus some of the other ones. The display screen just kind of felt like it was like super far away. But in this one right here, it just feels right there with you, so you can see a good amount of the picture here. All right, so I got the device on. I'm going to press record, which then in turn, you guys will be able to hopefully see it on the screen here. So let me hit record. All right, and now we should be recording. So here is my garage, and again, this is the 50 millimeter currently on the thermal. So up at the front bevel here, you can actually fine tune what you're actually looking at. So for example, those are my garage rails there where my garage door slides up, and like look at the detail on here. And again, it probably won't transfer over very well once I download the image, but through the Optic, I mean, it is very crisp, just a lot of detail. If I had the 30 millimeter on here, it'd probably be a little bit better. But also too, on the top portion here, there's a little dial knob that this is where you can magnify and zoom in. And if you press down and hold it, you get into the menu settings. And if you give it just one click, you get the laser rangefinder readings. So very easy, very quick and basic and simple to use. Here it kind of explains brightness, your different scene modes, your record button, and then I'm assuming different color palettes and to kind of review your footage. It looks like it does record as well. It's got a little record feature here, so we'll test that out as well. But those are the only buttons you really have are these three right here. This is kind of a multi-function button where you can just, you know, either scroll it this way, push down, or press and hold. All right, let's get outside, turn this guy on, take a look around, see if we see any cats running in the street, and kind of give you a better picture of what this thing looks like. All right, guys, so we're pretty much outside right now in front of my house, and I mean, look at the crisp detail on this thing. Like, it is just super detailed. Let's zoom in here. So we're at 22.4 magnification and scrolling back to 2.8. Looks like there's something sitting in that tree. Yeah, look at all those birds up there. So it looks like it's giving you your hold over there, that little green X with the little red dot in the middle there. All right, that was the 50mm lens. Kind of went through some of the settings there. So I went through the city, the forest, and the different sort of tones that you can utilize in different environments. Went through some of the color palettes. That was the 50mm lens, and if you look at the lens, I mean, this thing is just massive. And again, it's a 50mm, so it's going to be pretty big. So let's go ahead and change out the 50mm, throw the 30 on here, and then look through the 30, and then what we'll do at the end of the video, I'll compare the 50 with the 35 on a, kind of the same screen, and that way you get a better idea on what both lenses kind of give you to make a better decision on if you potentially want to pick one of these up for yourself. To change the lenses, so in here there's a little button here, a little hand with a lock symbol. So let's see if I can make this happen, but you literally have to rotate that lens all the way over, get it to the arrow, and just kind of wiggle it off. So there is the lenses off. Let's go ahead and get this guy on to kind of protect that other lens in there. Line that up. Boom. And then we're locked on with the 35mm lens. Let me cover this up. All right, so let's turn this guy on, and then we'll head outside. We'll do the same kind of test. I'll kind of compare the two, and that way you get a better picture. All right, so here we got the 35mm lens in white hot, and as you can tell, it's not zoomed in as much. The base magnification is, I want to say it's, if I remember correctly, 2. So you're going to get a wider image kind of at the back part. So if you're looking for something that, a little bit closer, save a little bit of money. Sick and tired of buying freaking batteries for all my stuff, all my devices. What I've been using here is this X-Tar charging hub. And what I do is I have a bunch of AA batteries here that I'm going to be using for my trail cameras this hunting season. If I end up setting any trail cameras up, as we know, you can cycle through batteries and batteries and batteries for trail cameras unless you got a little solar panel, the recharger stuff. But I've been using this thing primarily for my 18650 batteries right here. So highly recommend this thing. This thing has just been super easy to use. So I have not looked or pulled the footage off this thing and looked at any of the footage on the computer. I'll probably throw this guy on here tomorrow, pull everything off, and kind of review the footage from tonight. But I hope it shows, and I hope it does this thing justice, because it is super crisp. When you're out there, I mean, it is just very fine detail. Didn't have any issues right now for it resetting itself to kind of, get that temperature setting back. I think it's called a NUC for some of the other ones, or it's when the thermal device resets to kind of redo the temperature calibration. Yeah, I mean, this thing is awesome. Let's get into price and talk a little bit about price. So I can't remember off the top of my head what this particular kit is with the 35mm lens and the 50mm lens. I want to say it's right around $1,900, but I'll go ahead and put it right here up on the screen. But sub $2,000 for two lenses, especially that 50mm lens. Like 640 resolution, I mean, under $2,000, it is very hard to beat, and you're not going to find that. That is a really good deal. They do sell the with the 35. So, for example, just this standalone right here, I want to say it comes in right around $1,300 to $1,400. Still not bad for the quality of what you're getting. Years ago, thermal optics were ranging anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 depending on what type of resolution you would get. And now we're looking at sub 2,000 for 640 resolution. This is a 3-part review that we're doing. I will be taking this guy to the range. We're going to mount it on a rifle, test the ballistics calculator, shoot it a little bit, and then after that we'll get some animal footage. Hopefully I get some deer on the scope here and see deer through there. But if you are interested in one of these and you want to check it out, I will have a link down in the description you can use with a coupon code that'll save you 5%. So go and check them out. Take a look at the different types of thermal optics or thermal lens combinations that they have. If you guys made it this far in the video, do me a favor, go down in the comment section, leave a comment or hit that subscribe button. It'd really help out the channel. That is all I have for you today. Shoot straight, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.